Dan,
Yes.
I have a treat for you today.
I am very excited.
You don't get to find out what it is till you give us a food heist.
Okay.
But I have a very special episode for you.
Well, I have yet another burglar.
Oh, the Bearglar is back?
Mm-hmm.
I think someone may have sent me this one on Reddit.
Well, so we have the IBS at dragonsteel.com email address. If you have any food heists, please send them there. It is absolutely flooded. I get 2 or 3 or 4 emails a day.
Awesome.
And often they're duplicates. And so this may have been sent by several different people.
Okay.
But this one in particular, the link that they sent me was USA Today. And I don't know which section of USA Today this is. Because it has hard-hitting headlines like, 2-year-old left in tears after beluga whale pulled a face at her.
That is almost
Yeah.
an Onion headline.
Right?
Yeah. Like it's almost so mundane that it could be a joke. Okay.
Okay, so this happened, again, at time of recording, this was just 3 days ago. This was in Connecticut. So if you're tracking the burglar's whereabouts,
Bearglars in Connecticut.
they were most recently in Connecticut. Broke into a house, opened the freezer, and stole a frozen lasagna.
Wow.
Yeah.
Frozen lasagna, huh?
And apparently, like, took it with them instead of, like, eating it there. Because they're going to go, like, warm it up somewhere else, I guess.
Yeah, but if you're the Bearglar, you leave it. You want to eat it chill, but you don't want to eat frozen. So you leave it in a stream, right? you let
warm it up in a stream.
Yeah, warm it up in a stream. That's, yeah.
Yeah, so other than that, I have no other information. It's a video, and I am a grumpy old man. I don't watch videos. There's a link that someone sends me or that I find online, and it's like, oh, this looks interesting. I'm going to click this link, and it takes me to a video instead of an article. I'm disappointed every single time.
Oh, you mean like a video like the news report?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, not
if it was like someone had video of a bear stealing a lasagna out of a freezer, I'd watch that 100%.
Okay. But you're not going to watch as
somebody talking about it?
Yeah.
Come on, just write it down. That's one of my primary boomer traits. So
What are my primary boomer traits? I'm boomeristic in a lot of ways too, I think.
My other one is that I hate any website that tries to get me to download its app.
I think that's not a boomer mentality. I think
that's just an everyone.
That's everyone.
Okay.
That's a human being attribute. No, I don't want your app. Which makes it uncomfortable because we want to have an app someday.
Yeah, we want to create
an app. What we're not going to do is say, download our app or you can't do our thing, right? Like, I don't mind that all these places have apps, and when I find out that there's something I like that has an app that makes it, I'll give it a try. But what I don't want is, I don't want to, the more you try to force me to do it, the less I want to do it.
Yeah.
All right,
might
Dan.
have proprietary content on an app.
Yeah.
But.
All right.
I'm not going to bully you about it. All right, so this is the weird thing.
This is the thing that we came up with at Magic Night.
Okay.
We're chatting, a bunch of us together, and we're finding it very amusing, and decided it would make a good podcast episode. And so several people there took notes for me of all the things that we came up with, and I've organized it into a quiz.
Oh, okay.
It's a quiz for you, where we're trying to understand the universe better, right?
Okay.
And define what things are and aren't. And so, what we're going to talk about today is we're gonna talk about what actually makes a kaiju a kaiju.
I am so excited.
I thought you would.
I was like, is cereal soup conversation? No, this is so much cooler than that.
This is so much cooler.
Okay.
So, define for me a kaiju.
A kaiju?
Yes.
As classically defined, as far as I'm aware, a kaiju is a giant monster that comes stomping into town. I don't know if the stomping into town part is vital to it, because like Mothra flies, so he doesn't stomp.
So yeah,
but
so Mothra
big,
counts as
giant
a kaiju.
thing.
Yeah.
I would count.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's set just a few base rules of things we acknowledge are kaijus. Godzilla is the quintessential kaiju, right?
The trope originator.
Usually, King Kong is then kind of like the secondary trope initiator, and then that's why you have Kong versus Godzilla and these sorts of things. Then Mothra is a kaiju, basically any of the things that
Gamera is a kaiju. Yeah.
So I am going to ask you questions about certain things to see if we can define what is and isn't a kaiju. All right.
I need to point out to our audience that I am an expert in this because I've been published in not one but 2 kaiju anthologies.
Well, there we go.
Yep.
So I'm going to start us easy with things I think it'll be pretty easy to answer. The Loch Ness Monster.
The Loch Ness Monster.
Loch Ness Monster. Is the Loch Ness Monster a kaiju?
The Loch Ness Monster, the way most people describe it, I think is too small to be a kaiju.
Really?
Yeah.
So kaiju, so what about then Godzilla from the American Godzilla movie, where he wasn't as tall as most buildings?
Well, here's the thing.
He's still a kaiju, isn't he?
I would say he is. But, one of the main theories about Loch Ness Monster is that it is a plesiosaur that has just hung on somehow. Plesiosaurs were smaller than blue whales, and I'm not prepared to call a blue whale a kaiju. So I think that at the minimum, that needs to be our threshold of kaiju size.
See,
bigger than any living thing on Earth.
Has to be bigger than, okay. That's interesting. That's a good definition.
Say bigger than any animal because Pando, the quaking aspen forest is...
Right.
Is Pando a kaiju?
Is Pando a kaiju?
Is the Great Barrier Reef a kaiju?
It doesn't match your definition of stomping or, I can't imagine them destroying a city. I can't imagine the Loch Ness Monster doing so.
Maybe a little Scottish village.
Yeah.
But you
Scottish
throw
villages.
Nessie into Edinburgh and Edinburgh's going to be fine. He'll knock down a couple of buildings, then he'll get tranked. He's like the size of a big elephant.
Okay. So you would say, for instance, the T-Rex from Jurassic Park.
I would not call him a kaiju.
You can't. So that's your baseline of size. Okay. The Ents.
The Ents.
From Lord of the Rings. They destroy a city.
They do. They do, but it's not one. It's a whole army of little ones.
Yeah, but they're still big.
They're big-ish.
They're pretty big.
Are we talking a California redwood ent that's
I'm talking
200
about the
feet
Ents
tall?
From Lord of the Rings.
See, they're just little trees.
They destroy an entire city. They stomp on it and smash and are doing all the stuff that kaiju do.
I know, but they're little. I think of them as small.
So size is a defining characteristic for you.
For me, yes.
Okay. Well, then how about this? We will go with, so you're going to say no to serendipity from the serendipity books.
What on earth is serendipity?
Serendipity is like a little dinosaur from the cute little children's books about serendipity, the sea monster.
I will take your word for it.
Okay. But serendipity, generic sea monster. Most of these generic sea monsters, giant squid from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. These are not kaiju to you, even because they're remnants from.
I'm gonna stick fast to you have to be bigger than a blue whale to be a kaiju.
Okay. Megalodon from the Meg.
From the Meg, yes.
Megalodon from the Meg is a kaiju.
Now we're talking. Okay. I think gargantuan size, big, humongous, ridiculously large thing is vital to the whole thing.
So, Big Bird?
Big Bird, I'm not going to say that Big Bird's a kaiju.
Big Bird doesn't get to be a kaiju.
No, there are basketball players taller than Big Bird.
Big Bird.
If Yao Ming is not a kaiju, then Big Bird is not a kaiju.
Okay. I can. This isn't bad. Yeah, we've got.
Adam has given us AI created thing of an ent with a human face destroying a city.
Okay, I want Big Bird.
Being menaced by Hover cycles?
Yeah. So, all right.
I dig it.
All right. Last one in this category. Oh, no, two more in this category.
Okay.
Two more in this category.
What is this category?
This category is things that I would traditionally call monsters.
Okay.
Like if you saw it, this is a monster. So therefore, because I thought maybe monster has to be part of the thing. So Cthulhu.
Cthulhu.
Let's go the other direction. Can the thing be so powerful that it's no longer a kaiju? Can an elder god who, if he wakes up, can extinguish all life on the planet with a thought, be a kaiju? Yes or no?
I gotta say yes on this.
Okay, Cthulhu's a kaiju.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he might be so powerful that destroying the city doesn't take him very long, but I think he's still a big, huge monster. In the Call of Cthulhu story, there's like an image of Cthulhu made out of slime or something that they sail their ship through. That's clearly a kaiju, I think.
Even the image, even the okay. Okay. All right.
By that definition, though, Galactus is a kaiju.
Okay, Galactus is on my list.
Okay.
Is Galactus a kaiju?
I mean, if we're having big world-destroying things be a kaiju, like the ridiculous Eternals from or the Eternals movie, whatever they were serving, they're so large that they just dwarf actual planets.
Can they? Do they count?
That does feel too big,
doesn't it? I feel like that's too big to even be a kaiju. There's a side category above kaiju.
There has to be something bigger. So maybe we have to take Cthulhu out.
I would, it depends on the size of Cthulhu. I would say Cthulhu depends on the specific, like in the Call of Cthulhu, we don't know how big Cthulhu is. So he has to be a question mark. The Cthulhu that they released in HeroClix is a kaiju.
Yes.
The HeroClix Cthulhu that's a certain size that you can go fight, that's a kaiju. But the Elder God, who knows? But I'm going to agree with you. I don't think Galactus is a kaiju.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He can't stomp through a city.
Can't stomp through a city. He can, but we would say that, for instance, like the starfish monster from the new
from Suicide Squad,
100%
kaiju. a kaiju.
Yeah. So I think they were really going for that, so it makes sense.
So before we leave this category,
okay, I got one more for you.
Okay,
one more really good one.
Okay,
Clifford the Big Red Dog.
Let's see. I don't know. He's definitely bigger than a blue whale, isn't he?
Yep. He grows, apparently, I was instructed, I was not up on my Clifford lore as we discussed this, grows as big as he is loved. So the more people in the world that love Clifford, the bigger he gets.
Well, now I know what horror story I want to write next.
So, so Clifford the Big Red Dog, is he a kaiju?
Yeah. So in the cartoon show, he is shown to be literally larger than a house.
Yes.
All
right, this is our Big Bird destroying
Adam,
us.
please send me that so that I can have it forever. He has created Kaiju Big Bird just destroying a city. And it's so wonderful. It makes me very happy.
All right.
Okay, so here's my question.
Yes.
Before we leave this monster category,
monster category.
I'm gonna declare Clifford can be a kaiju.
Okay.
Okay.
Clifford's a kaiju. He would have to get angry and destroy the city to really, truly, but he's capable of it. So
yeah. Also, the potential for him to grow much larger than he is.
Yeah.
Through pre-established canon. I'm in. So, are there any of these where you disagree with me?
I would make the Ents kaijus.
You'd make
I would make an Ent kaiju. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that the framing of them and what they do and things like that, I would say like they tonally are kaiju-esque in that story. But I could be argued out of that position. Otherwise, I'm with you. I don't think the dinosaurs from Jurassic Park. Nessie, wow. There's one of Clifford. Nessie, I kind
that
of...
That could literally just be the cover of a Dresden Files novel.
Okay. Like Nessie, I think I disagree with you on Nessie. And
Nessie.
here's my argument.
Okay.
Nessie's been around for hundreds of years. So Nessie is an immortal, right? Nessie's some sort of supernatural sea monster that sure looks like and might not be quite big enough to meet your criteria, but there's something special about Nessie that I'm going to go with Kaiju.
Okay.
On.
Well, and I am absolutely on board for if we theorize that the long Elasmosaurus neck that people have seen, if that's actually just the tentacle of a much, much larger creature, then yeah.
Then you could be convinced.
I'm in.
All right, category 2?
Yeah, but I do want to, in response to the Ents, just to make clear where our opinions are differing, I think Kaiju have to be relatively solitary for me to consider them Kaiju.
Okay.
So if you had like a whole bunch of house-sized Godzillas, I would not consider that.
Okay.
Like in Shin Godzilla, when it starts like spawning little things, those are not Kaiju. But I suppose I could grant that they might eventually grow into Kaiju.
Okay. All right. Next category, robots. Can robots be Kaiju?
Boy, this is actually a very socially fraught question.
So, War of the Worlds tripods. Assuming that they are just entities, which we don't know if they are or aren't. We don't know if there's pilots or, but let's assume that they're like robotic entities of some sort. I don't know. They die to common cold, but War of the Worlds robots.
War of the Worlds robots.
Kaijus, vehicles, what?
I'm going back towards Pacific Rim here. One of our great works of modern kaiju Western literature. And we have giant robots and we have giant monsters, and they are fundamentally different and fundamentally opposed.
But I've gotcha, because Mechagodzilla is a kaiju. Canonically.
Shoot, you're right.
Ha-ha!
Dang it.
I knew you were going to get got by this one.
Yeah.
But so is Pacific Rim kaiju versus kaiju? Or is it what's going on there? So can a vehicle be a kaiju? Because in the Godzilla movie, the new one, like Mechagodzilla is just being controlled by like some dude. But I think original, it's just like he's a robot. So I would... you're supposed to be answering these. So.
I'm not sure that I'm willing to say that a piloted vehicle is a kaiju. And that's how I consider the tripods from War of the Worlds.
I think that they have
as
to be.
well. That would be the same reason that like Mega Maid from Spaceballs would not be a kaiju.
Okay, she's on my list, so good.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Whereas Evangelion, like the giant robots are overtly organic and have their own minds and their own thoughts.
Not
so
the,
even
not
though there's
the Avas, but the angels.
Yeah. So even though there's like the pilots and whatever, but
they're not bigger than Nessie, are they?
Oh, yes, they
They're
are.
not bigger than Ents.
I don't imagine Nessie or Ents to be especially huge.
But neither are the things the Avas are fighting. I guess they're as tall as a mid-sized building.
Aren't they several stories tall?
There's several stories, but Nessie's several stories tall, Dan. Nessie's 30, 40
There's
feet.
no way that Nessie is several stories tall.
Nessie, how tall? Nessie's got to be 30, 40 feet tall. But how tall's Treebeard? Treebeard's at least 25, right?
25 is little.
25 is little. Okay. Transformers.
14 feet for Treebeard.
14 feet. Okay.
14 feet.
Okay, you're right on Treebeard.
Yeah.
I concede this point. I have been proven wrong by the fact checkers. Treebeard is not a kaiju.
You can, we have too much footage of Treebeard next to hobbits. We can extrapolate his height too well.
Okay, but Transformers slash,
Michael Bay Transformers, I'm going to say they are not kaiju.
Okay.
They are big robots, but they're not giant robots.
and the giant one from the cartoon is too big to be a kaiju. The one that's coming to
The
eat
one
Earth.
that's like the whole planet.
Yes.
Yeah.
But is there a theoretical transformer
Mid-range.
bigger than Optimus Prime but smaller than a planet? Would that count as a kaiju?
I think we would have to by the rules we are establishing.
Okay.
It is an autonomous creature with its own like motility and its own awareness. Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, what I'm doing in my head is I'm trying to imagine each of these things knocking down a building by itself.
So here,
And-
you're going to give me this one. You're going to say that a mid-sized transformer, like a transformer that's 50 feet tall.
No, I want them to be bigger than that.
50 feet? I mean, you've already said things that are 50 feet tall count as kaijus.
What did I say that was only 50 feet tall?
I mean, like the Godzilla from the American Godzilla movie is 50 feet tall.
Yeah, he was little, huh?
Mm-hmm. So he's 50 feet tall.
And tripods are only 100.
100 feet? Oh, they're
Tripods are 100 feet tall.
They're pretty big.
I'm pretty confident that tripods are vehicles, though.
Yeah, I agree with you on tripods. Tripods don't make mine. But I think if you give me Transformer, then it means a lot. So you better be careful about your answer.
Okay,
on
so
this.
here's the thing.
Mhm.
I am on record as wanting kaiju to be very large. I wrote a bunch of adventures and campaigns for a science fiction horror role-playing game called Grimmer Space. It hasn't launched yet, as far as I'm aware. And they wanted a kaiju in one of them. And we had huge fights because they're like, oh no, it's 40 feet tall, it's huge. And I'm like, that's not huge. Give me a break. You got to be like 100 feet tall to impress me as a kaiju.
I think that you have some argument. I don't agree with you, but I think you have some argument. But 100-foot tall Transformer.
100-foot tall Transformer would absolutely be a kaiju.
Okay.
50-foot tall, that's like a dwarf kaiju, right? That's
Okay.
like a 50-foot tall Godzilla is to kaiju as Pluto is to Neptune.
Okay. Your scale's off a little bit there, but we'll roll with it. We'll roll with it. All right. Next category.
Okay.
This is some questionable ones. There's only a couple in this, but there's one that I think really works and one I think that you're not going to let us. But let's go ahead with Bowser.
Bowser
King
is
of the Koopas.
like
Transformer-wise,
Yes.
Donald said tidal wave is
Uh-huh.
something that I should look up. This is just from Transformers Fandom Wiki. Says, on the subject of size, considering an aircraft carrier is making up just his arms, this would make him about 2,000 feet tall in robot mode.
Oh,
Arguably
see?
the largest non-planet former in any continuity.
absolutely agree that that's a kaiju.
Okay.
See, that's the level I'm thinking of.
Bowser.
Okay, in Super Mario Kart,
Uh-huh.
Bowser is 2.5 times taller than Mario. That's not even baby kaiju. That's
Okay.
just a dude.
I think in most of the stories, he's no more than 5 times as tall as Mario. So he's not going to hit your 50-foot threshold, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. But I got a ringer here. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Oh, absolutely a kaiju.
Absolutely. How tall is the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man? I guess he reaches the top of the skyscraper they're on, so he's going to be like 200 feet
It's
tall.
going to be pretty big. 100 feet tall?
Oh, so
yeah.
he hits your minimum. All right. So Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, yes, a kaiju.
Yes.
Okay.
You mentioned the HeroClix Cthulhu. I actually wrote letters to WizKids to say, please make a HorrorClix set of the 4 Ghostbusters and then a giant Marshmallow Man, because that would be the greatest thing. And that does not exist as far as I'm aware. So
Okay. So now the most fun category. This is, can humans be kaiju? So, is Susan from Monsters vs. Aliens a kaiju?
a kaiju? I'm going to say yes.
Okay. So the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman that she's based off of, Kaiju.
50 again feels small to me, but I at this point have to concede that
Minimum
there are
thresholds.
ample examples. Like that's about how tall King Kong is, right? So
Yeah. So
yeah,
Susan is
and
yes.
Susan, absolutely. I mean, especially in context of that story, she is presented as this is our kaiju. We have the various monster archetypes, and that's the one that she is. So.
She's the kaiju. Okay. Liking that. There is a scene where Ant-Man goes giant and bursts out of the ocean and scares people on the docks. Is Ant-Man a kaiju?
I mean, even in Endgame, the big giant Ant-Man that bursts out of the ground
He's
and
always
starts taking out giant monsters.
framed kaiju-like in his filming.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'm going to grant this one.
You're going to grant me Ant-Man. All right.
Quick update on King Kong.
Okay,
Yes.
Adam,
Never actually talked about
every time you interrupt us, you have to say the thing that the guy says on Iron Chef.
I don't know what
The
that
little
is.
down on the floor guy who's... I don't know what it is, but you know what I'm talking about,
I
right?
do know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he says the name of the guy.
Okay.
The
Anyway,
chef,
go ahead. What do you got?
director.
Well, creator, and this is Wikipedia.
Are you mic'd?
Marion C. No, I'm not.
Okay, we'll repeat this then.
Marion C. Cooper envisioned King Kong as being 40 to 50 feet tall. Animator Willis O'Brien and his crew built the models and sets scaling Kong to be only 18 feet tall on Skull Island and rescaled to be 24 feet tall in New York.
Okay, so the original King Kong is 24 feet tall.
Yeah.
By Wikipedia, I think King
the
Kong
Peter
has
Jackson
been grown.
King Kong's about that size, right?
He's bigger than 18 feet.
The Skull Island King Kong is much bigger.
Much bigger. So, but we've been pushing to my last one. Okay. All right. I like this. This is good.
Okay.
So we've established some ground rules. This is all in service of something. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, for reasons that I cannot quite explain, my brother and I have gone to all of the SpongeBob SquarePants movies.
Okay.
We don't necessarily watch SpongeBob religiously, but it's a thing that Jordo and I have done for whatever reason. Is like, it's a SpongeBob movie. Sure, we'll go to it.
Yeah.
And so we have consistently gone to the SpongeBob movies. Now, in one of the SpongeBob movies, SpongeBob and Patrick have come up on shore to visit Earth, right? The not Bikini Bottom, and they're on Earth, but the
Visit the surface world.
the surface world, and they've gone on an adventure, but they need to return home at speed and are trapped and unable to do so because they
know
need to
where you're going with this.
And they are there alone, and David Hasselhoff shows up and offers to take them back, and then turns into a boat that they climb on his back and have a climactic fight against the villain on a giant David Hasselhoff's back. Now, here's why I've trapped you, because you have indicated that size is the most important thing, but it's size by scale, because to a transformer, being that size is normal.
Yeah.
It's not so something huge that comes to Earth is a kaiju, even if, because a lot of these kaiju, this is their society, this would be normal. So it's the perception of the people that the story is being told about whether or not something is a kaiju. So I think by these rules, David Hasselhoff, by relative size, is more than 50 feet tall compared to SpongeBob. As a normal person. I think by these rules, David Hasselhoff has to be a kaiju.
Here's the question.
Yes.
Because I've seen the clip where they're riding on Hasselhoff's back.
Yes. Mm-hmm. They found the David Hasselhoff model. they had to build a David Hasselhoff out of. Yep.
So do we see him in Bikini Bottom? Like stomping around?
No, he actually turns his pecs into, he puts SpongeBob and Patrick in between his pecs and flexes and shoots them down. So he's above Bikini Bottom and he shoots them down to the city.
Okay. So first of all, I'm going to say that there is an argument that could be made that because we are only seeing SpongeBob and Patrick as a part of Hasselhoff's world instead of vice versa.
I think it's all framed from their viewpoint. Everything is huge that they've gone to.
Okay.
If you make that argument, then if Jack goes to the Giants and the Beanstalk, then we're not seeing from the Giants' viewpoint. We're seeing from the humans' viewpoint going to another world.
Yeah.
Those still have to be kaiju to him, right?
Well, yes. I'm fine with giants being kaiju.
Like we go to Kong's island. Kong doesn't stop being a kaiju because we're in his world.
Well, that's true. Here's the thing, though, is if we say yes to this,
yes,
we are opening the door to, like, every human in a borrower's book is a kaiju.
Came up on our
Right?
conversations.
Like, I don't know. That feels dangerous. If we're going to define kaiju not as something huge, but as something huge relative to the perceiver, that feels like it's just too much.
It has to be relative to perception, though.
So then Secrets of Nim is a kaiju story.
Yes, I think it had so would King Kong stop being a kaiju, or would Godzilla stop being a kaiju if you found out it actually took place on an alternate Earth where all the humans were really small and he was our size? In this theoretical mind experiment, if you discover those movies all take place and Godzilla is
micronized Earth,
human-sized, does that make him not a kaiju? Obviously, it does not change the fact that he's a kaiju.
Okay. I'm uncomfortable with this. This feels like cheating.
I mean, it's just basic Einsteinian physics. Theory of relativity.
I am willing to grant that if we are judging primarily by size, then we can allow size to be relative. Andy is a kaiju to Woody and Buzz, right?
Came up in our conversations.
Sure.
Sid,
or rather,
more importantly.
let's say a giant compared to them.
Yes.
Because kaiju, as much as we've been defining it by size, feels like it has other factors.
It does.
And so, something that is too big for the world that they're in, something that is, specifically destructive and often accidentally destructive, that is not helping my argument because I just described Sid in the world of the toys. But I don't know.
All right. All I'm taking from this is that Ben is a kaiju.